On most of the episodes of Swim Against the Tide, I will normally do an introduction that gives a highlights package of what's coming up in the recording. Today we meet Mark Scott, who currently is probably most famous for the co-founder of the pet food brand Bella and Juke. But I don't really want to give much more away. This was one of the most fascinating chats I've had in doing the podcast over the last year. Mark is an incredible force of nature. So I don't really want to spoil any of this. I want him to do his own thing and let you listen to the episode and enjoy it. So sit back, grab a coffee and enjoy this one. Thank you. Hi Mark, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Steve. You don't know what you let yourself in for.
I think I might enjoy this. I always love a challenge, as we discussed earlier. So look, you, amongst many things, you're probably best known at the moment as being one of the co-founders at Bella and Juke, but I know there's a lot more to you before that and now after that. So if you wouldn't mind giving us, it's always good to give people a bit of context, because I've spoken to you, I've got some older kids that don't listen to me, they're at uni and they assume they have to go a certain path for a career. I know that's not right. You certainly know that's not right. And I think it's great for people to understand there are many ways to achieve what you want to achieve in both personal and business life. So if you could give us a bit of a potted history of how you're sitting here talking to me, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you, Stephen. So, I actually wrote a blog post about this. As you evolve, as you get over your 50s, as we had a little chat before, you kind of reflect on life and you go, that's why that happened and that's why this happened. But at the time, it feels like the world's ending. So when I left school, I only just found out 8 months ago that I'm dyslexic. And everyone else around me going, people are like, did you not know, Mark? And I'm like, no, I just thought my brain was different.
Yeah.
And it's super interesting. So I would always have problems remembering short term. So I have to really focus on it. And I literally will forget words, which is why I get my words mixed up. But the reason I'm starting off with this is because at school, if you have a certain brain that remembers stuff, you can splish out, and when someone's talking to you, writing stuff to you, you can understand it, then great, you do amazing at school. The downside of that is you do amazing at school. Then you're in the system. And when you're in the system, it's one big fear of loss. You got to get your degree. You got to get this. You got to get your mortgage. You got to spend 20, 30, 40 years of paying off debt. You got to pay off your student debt. You got to do this. You're in the system. Fortunately, I fell out of that system. I didn't get one GCSE. So I'm like, fuck it. I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Got nothing to lose. I burnt the bridges. I burnt the boats because my brain was just different. Thank God for that.
Sorry, Mark, to cut in, but it's an interesting point with what's going on with education now, though, isn't it? Without getting into that, because our children don't have to remember anything nowadays. Any piece of information is in their hand. Because I was the same. I could never remember anything. I was like that. Oh, I'm sure it's something. And it's now how do you apply that for good, isn't it? How do you apply that information that's all around you in the cloud?
Well, it's interesting because as you said that, what came to me was, thank God technology has caught up with my brain, because I needed to catch up with a different type of brain. And I was in the top 5% when I did this in pattern recognition. Okay. So my brain in pattern recognition is better than 95% of the population.
Yeah.
So that allows me to see things. So what happened is when I realized I had nothing to lose, then I had everything to gain. Now, in reality, every child is the same. We all have 2 arms. We all have 2 legs. We all have a gob. We all have 2 ears. Sometimes we use them. Sometimes we don't. And a brain. It's only what's going on in this dark, black space behind the eyes that makes the difference in the filter. That's it. When you realize that, you can control your world. You can control the world. So I started off, fortunately, you remember the BBC personal computer? That had just come out.
The BBC-B, yeah.
The BBC-B and the electronics. And they started bringing them in the PCs and IBMs into college. Fortunately, at that point, I was able to communicate with the wider populace through this language called English. So I did all right at college and I did all right at uni. and I got my HND because also I found at college they taught you that they looked at you more as an adult. Like rather than telling you what to do, they suggested this is what you should do. And I just worked so much better rather than someone telling me, asking me. Even though I didn't get any GCSEs, I did manage to get a BTEC and an HND in hospitality management. So that was my education story. And then very briefly off the back of that, I had to make some money because I wanted to travel the world. And I ended up doing this summer job doing door-to-door sales, which was literally getting different products. It'd be vibrating hairbrushes. One day you'll be calculators.
We all need them.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. Hairbrushes, you name it, vibrating pillows. So what happened was we would go out and take these big bags of stuff and we'd go and sell them through the day. And that's how you made your money. So if you didn't sell anything, if you what we called negged out or you had a bad attitude that day or just sat in the cafe, you'd sell nothing. And that would scare the crap out of 95% of people who would come and do it. So then I realized, shit, all these super smart people, they're scared of negatives as well. They're scared of no. And I hadn't realized that a no when you're doing sales is nothing personal. It's not like you're in a nightclub and you're minging and she's saying you're minging. It's because they don't want the product or anything. So when you realize a negative is just a negative, or a negative is just something that is saying, hey, if you can turn this negative, then I'll buy that product. So when I started doing the sales, unfortunately, I was really good at it. And I just found it, well, not easy, but I just had that mentality of get it done, go and hit the target, don't worry about the negatives and make stuff happen. But because I had different products every week to sell, you never relied on the product because you couldn't. Because one week you'd be selling.
It's whatever you got a bag of to check.
Yeah. So you get good at doing the deal. So you go, hey, I'm going to 2 for 1, 5 for 3, and all this stuff. And you would just sizzle it up and special deal for you. And, all the stuff that you do on landing pages today. We were doing it. Yeah. And you get the instant feedback. So you knew whether it was working or not, and you would adjust it. So going out and doing door-to-door sales was the best thing I ever did because I learned so much of dealing with negatives, but more importantly, I learned so much about people. Then I realized that if I wanted to build a team of people, then I had to give them a reason to take these negatives. So then I started talking about their future, their goals. Because I remember the saying from early on, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's not changed. And we forget that. And I'll bring this all back as to Bella and Juke in the end. So then I learned that skill of motivating people, finding what's interesting them. And then I would build this loyal bunch of guys, like hardcore guys and girls that we would wake up in the morning, 7 o'clock, we'll go down to the office in the morning, do that 6 days a week, and you finish maybe 6, 7 o'clock at night. All of you had a battering because you've been out taking negatives, selling stuff, coming back. Some people made a lot of money, some people not so much, and all those things. But then you build an atmosphere and a culture in the office. So people just wanted to come in. It was buzzing. It was amazing. And we were excited about the future. Look, I'm 18. No, I was 20 years of age. I'm in the Northeast. The mines were all getting closed. The shipbuilding was all getting closed. And there was this little space in Dunstan where Gaz is from. And Brian from AC/DC beside the rocket. And this of opportunity and excitement. And we were creating it from nothing. Like you give me a calendar that was 2 years out of date. We went and sold them because we sell them as cardboard. And when you have that confidence that you can do that, the world is your oyster. And I'll come back. There's a couple of negatives about that as well. So then I went up to Edinburgh. I built my first office there. Eventually, I did that for 7 or 8 years. We had 200 guys out in the field. Then we started representing blue chip companies, charities, all the guys you see on the streets now.
So you basically built a direct sales business then, did you? And then, like you say, okay, got you.
Yeah. And then we got into representing other companies rather than products, gas and electricity. And that's where that whole industry is massive now. But I did it for 7 years. And then I got headhunted to work with another company on the internet. And I got super excited about the internet. So I took all my sales experience and brought it to the internet. And we had like a huge travel sites. I had about 400 different websites. That's how bad my ADHD is. And we built Go Bananas, which was a stag and hen party site. We built white pages that we flogged. Done loads. I had businesses in India that we did, and we were taking people on medical tourism because if you're America, getting a hip replacement might cost you 40,000, where you can get it on an NHS trained doctor in a top hospital in India for $5,000. So I've done everything, and I built a portfolio of properties. But all that came from doing these direct sales. Then about 9 years ago, interestingly, about 42, and I don't know if you remember that time, Steve. Life's starting to change a little bit, and business was getting a bit tough on a lot of them. And I just completely burnt out. Couldn't sleep. I was shaking, and I had real dark thoughts, and I felt the world was coming in on me. And I was just like, it was just horrible. And I was really feeling less than a man, and I wasn't providing. I was just like this guilt and everything. So I said to my business partner at the time, says, I'm just going to have to I'm going to have to quit. I'm just going to have all the businesses I don't want to, I just need time out. And that's the first time in my life that I'd taken time out. And there was a storm that hit our house, and a tree had fallen down in our front garden. And I went out with an axe every single day, and I went and chopped that tree up by hand with the axe. And I said,
hopefully I remember that.
Yes, so otherwise. And I said, by the time I finish this tree, I'll know what I want to do next. But whatever I do, I've got to be passionate about. It's got to be something that comes from the heart. And I've never done that before. It's always about making money, always about proving the school wrong, always about proving this wrong, always blah, 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 which are great motivations, but they're negative. They're not solid. They're not a solid base where you can pull on every single day and go, that is the reason. That's my North Star. That is why I'm doing this thing. So then I started to formulate, I want to help people. I want to help. And, I want to be I want to bring to society, community. I want to be proactive and help people. And then me and my mate, Tony, we had 4 dogs, and 3 of them got cancer that year, all under the age of 10. And I'm just like, this is bonkers. How can 3 dogs get cancer under the age of 10? And at that time, I had been overweight. I was really good at smoking, drinking, and all that other stuff, because that's what got me through. It made me really cool, hanging out with the kids. No, you can't say that. Down with the kids. No, I can't say that.
No.
But you know what I mean? It was just like you realize that your body, they say it's a temple. Mine was more like the visitor center part of the temple. And I had to clean my act up. And then suddenly when I started putting proper food into me, eliminating things, news, toxins, all that, suddenly I just felt energy again. I'm just like, wow, I've not felt like this since those early days of running my first office. So then this started coming back, and I saw the thing about the dogs, and I went and looked at the pet food, the ingredients on the food I was feeding my dogs, and I went, why didn't I look at this earlier? And I felt so pissed off that we had been told to feed our cats and dogs this crappy, highly processed food. Well, on the same time, we're saying to human beings, do not eat highly processed foods. I just couldn't compute. I'm like, I'm in many ways, I'm black and white, right? My life is not grays. I'm like, but we're saying healthy food is really good for humans, yet we're telling pet owners, no, feeding them crappy, highly. It just didn't make sense. And that was it. That was my I've got to do something about this. And I thought,
so you had obviously, before we keep going, sorry, you had no experience in this world.
No, I've never had an experience in anything. I just do it.
Well, yeah. So literally, it was more. I've had this experience with my pets. I'm going to do it. This is my purpose.
Yeah, and because of my experience of running businesses and teaching people how to get motivated on commission only, I just had this vision in my head. I want to disrupt the whole pet food industry because it's shocking. It's terrible. It's crazy. We'll look back at it sometime and go, how did we let that happen? And you can see it happen in society today. ID cards and all this coming out. You go, didn't see that coming. So that I wanted to punk this. I really wanted to be like, I'm going to change this. And again, I've got nothing to lose. I've got no qualifications. Yes. Try striking me off the Entrepreneur Association that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that someone's made up.
Yeah, but everyone else has had to toe the line because they're part of this association, that association, and which is all paid by Big Pharma, Big Food, and all the rest of it to protect them anyway. Okay, anyway, so So yeah, we built this. I had this vision, and then my next thing was, right, I need to attract the right people to the point, because I'm not a vet, you might have guessed. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a Geordie on a mission, pissed off about pet food. So I went out and spoke to a few people I'd never met before, cold calling ages, found a vet who said, yeah, I'll put some money in. Never met them before, because she said, that totally resonates with me. I went, great.
Right,
so now I've got a vet. So no longer look at me, I've got a vet. I said to Tony, who's, expert in human food, I said, Tony, how do we create human food standard in pet food? Great. You're the man for that. Found my mate, nutritionist, functional nutritionist. And I got him on board. And then I got an IT. So all the money that I got people to invest in, they were smart money. It was like they were bringing more than just cash, because that was important.
Yeah.
I had a big goal. And basically, I sat down, and also I had another mate of mine who had the direct sales teams. We went out and tested it, the idea. We signed up 100 customers door to door. We still had 65 of them after 6 months, which was like, wow, in subscription food is unbelievable.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, subscription selling is tricky, and to keep them, isn't it? You can get one started, but then to keep it.
But then people were seeing the results in their cats and dogs, so that was the game changer.
You better actually explain what the product was you developed, though, because people might not know.
So it's dead simple. There's 8.7 million species on planet Earth. So that's 8.7 million. 89.99999 and so on eat raw food.
Okay.
It's only as humans and our domesticated animals that eat processed foods.
Got you.
Which are the ones that have the chronic diseases?
Yeah, fair enough.
So
raw food.
Yeah, and we do it with top quality products, like we mimicking like your animals caught at prey. And guess what? They have smaller vet bills. They live longer. They don't stink. Their plops go from that big to that big, and they just look absolutely amazing, and they smell fantastic. And I'm like, there's the proof. Now we could spend 3 million on doing studies and or we could just see this. Because it suits the people who are protecting things to get these studies, because once you get these studies, then you can go to the universities and you can retrain the vets on proper nutrition. But that takes a lot of money and a lot of investment to do that. Who's going to pay for that?
Yeah. And also,
Nobody.
Is there an appetite from the big boys to actually even encourage it? There's not going to be, is there? They're going to be stonewalling that.
You want to drag your heels. Like what happened in America in crypto. The banking industry didn't want that to happen because it's a big money maker for them. Yeah. So when you step back, so that's the kind of, I guess, me, I just don't like the society where we're taking advantage of. And I feel like there's got to be more and more of us out there that we need to keep pushing and change this. Otherwise, we're just going to get hurt in some fashion because it suits somebody else further up. So that was really the Bella and Juke. So we set an intention, a goal to build a 50 million pound business in 3 years. We got to that valuation in 4 years. So that's not bad, and that was because of the expectations. And then I guess as an entrepreneur, you also need to know when you need to step down as well as step up. So in January last year, I decided, I'm a fire starter. I'm great at getting things going, but sometimes I might start more fires just because I'm bored or whatever, or because my brain's just, I see opportunity. So I decided, at this point, the business is great. The culture's absolutely spot on. I'm really happy with it. It's time to pass the reins on to somebody who can take it to the next level and do all the governance and all that other stuff, which is really, really important. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
There's enough people who can do that stuff because they went to college and university and followed the systems. I'm just not that person.
But would never have the skills, though, to get it there and start it. It's fascinating, isn't it? It's understanding who's good at what.
Yeah, well, it's team. And you got to have a striker and you got to have a goalkeeper. But often people try and get too many strikers. And I made those mistakes in the early days. I would try and hire me again, which is an absolute frigging nightmare, is having an office full of me.
Slightly chaotic, I can understand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's good fun without music, but you need to get into stuff.
Brilliant.
So that's the story of where I am today. Well, almost.
Almost, yeah, with a few bits. as you said, there's quite a bit to unpack just in there. Never mind, because we've got another chapter after that to start talking about in a minute, which we'll come back to. Can I ask a question? When you, so about 10 years ago, when you just said this is too much, was the business successful at that time? I mean, or were there pressures that had caused? Could you understand what had triggered you?
Yeah, but so yes, my business. Those businesses I've been building, we've been running for must have been 15, 16, 17 years. So yes, they had been successful. There was peaks and troughs because we were always ahead of the game. So I did SEO, I did reputation management, I did lots. I had all. But if you think about AI today and how much that's disrupting, like, I wouldn't want to be a lawyer today. I wouldn't want to be an accountant today. I wouldn't want to be a programmer today because you're easy targets. You're all templated. I'll get my AI to talk to your AI and we'll come to a deal. You know what I mean? It's going to be that, and it's going to be no cost. So those are the sort of jobs and roles that are going to go. So I've seen that disruption all the time through SEO. So, you'd have this really successful websites kicking ass, and then Google will update an algorithm and you know where your money's just switched off.
Disappeared. Yeah.
Or, the job market's changed and stuff like that. So we were always ahead of the curve, and we always had to stay ahead of the curve. That was the challenge with it. I mean, my party buses, which I had in Leeds as well, double-decker party buses.
I remember the Leeds ones, yeah.
Yeah. So that was my, I'm like, what do I know about buses? Don't get into buses. That's what I can tell you. So I've learned a lot, but everything I kind of built on a similar sort of pattern, systems, conversion rates, and so forth. The difference was just the product. So you just had to find out, what does the customer want? And then you sell them it. That's simple. And I say to people today, when I'm mentoring, I'm saying, like, write the review that you want, and then write the advert you want, and then write the product or build the product to fill that. Don't do it the other way around.
Yeah.
What does that review look like? What are they saying about that thing? And what does that advert say to get them there? And then build the product. What often we do is try and do it the other way and go, oh shit, nobody wants it. Or the price is too high, or that. Yeah, getting out there. And I think that's where they're door to door and just going out there to talk to people. It's so easy just to get quick answers and figure out if it's working or not.
Yeah. Because I've heard you talk before about how you transferred your door-to-door sales skills onto the internet, because you were literally like a living Q&A test, weren't you? You were literally, that didn't work right. Next house, I'm trying this angle. Oh yeah, that's good. Now if I add this, that's better. Which is what you then could do digitally, couldn't you? If you were at the forefront of that, you were like, right, let's test this landing page. Where do we put the button? What's the headline? Where does the price appear?
Yeah.
It's fascinating how your brain just saw that natural journey, because most people thought door-to-door sales to web.
And also simplifying things. Like half the time I'm just like, I said, you can narrow that down to one sentence and they'll get it. So if I talk about, I'm just going to talk about the breathwork session, for example, I just say jokingly, I've discovered that lots of people have mummy and daddy issues, and everyone laughs because everyone relates to it.
Yeah.
So then have you got kids? Oh, great. Yeah. The reason I did this is because I didn't want to pass those things on that have been passed on to me onto my kids. And then you're sitting there going, you know what, actually, I don't want to do that either. Now you're giving them the reason to do the hard work. A reason so powerful that if you love your kids, you'll do it not for you, you'll do it for them. Because you do not want to pass this thing on that's been passed on to your parents and it's been passed on from their parents. It's limiting beliefs. There's all these things that we never question, we just accepted. Why do I get angry sometimes? Or how does that trigger me? Or what? And then you realize it's, that kid. Anyway, I've gone off track a little bit, but that is an example of instant feedback and then using that in a positive way to get a message out.
And that's it. And then that message lands because it's coming from a place of love, isn't it, as well? I think that's always an interesting thing. You talk about, it's one of the guys I work with here talked about how you give feedback to your team, and I'm sort of known as a nice guy. And they said sometimes you're not being nice because you're not addressing that person. And he said to me, when you speak to your kids, what do you do? I said, well, I just tell them. He said, well, why do you feel you can tell your kids and not someone at work? He says, well, I love them and I've got their best interests at heart. He said, and as he said it, I'm like, yeah, it's a really good point. So why can't you do that? If you love your team and you want them to succeed, give them the feedback they need to grow.
Absolutely. And the two things that I think are really important is be your authentic self. Half the time, people don't know who they are because they've been everything else but who they are. And the second thing is speak your truth. And remember, your truth is your truth. It's your reality. It's not the reality. It's your reality. But at least people know where you are. And if your reality matches their reality, fab. If your reality is different, then there's enough. And then you go, well, there's a reality, because remember, your brain sits in a black box. Doesn't, it's not outside there, and it's only the windows and the filter between those windows, your eyes, and that black box is what you create as reality. And when you get that, then you go, okay, right. Is this feeling, this thing true? Do I know it to be true or not?
So you had obviously something that forced you to think of that, and you had that time out after chopping the tree in bits and pieces. How do you I know we'll talk about, you do some coaching and some development of people now. How do you encourage people to find, obviously they could go and chop a tree, but I'm sure that you've got some other clever techniques now that you've worked out of getting people to understand how they do that themselves?
Yeah. So, okay, Steve, so I'll ask you a question. What's your perfect day?
It would be where it wouldn't have to be family, it could be anywhere. My favourite thing is meeting new people or meeting people.
Okay, so you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
What time do you wake up?
About 7.
7, okay. So 7 till 9, what do you do?
At the moment, dog walk, kick the kids out, or if it's my morning, I'll go to the gym if Jules is doing the dog walk. Until 9, I'm on duty, and then getting myself into the office. That's
so you get a bit of your own time when you're doing the dog walking. You might put some podcast on to educate yourself or stuff like that, and so that's a bit of mine. That's great. Get the kids off, love them, see ya, love you lots.
Boot them,
and then you get into it. So when you think about your perfect time, so my perfect morning is basically I get up, I have a coffee, I speak to my wife, we chat about things, goals, stuff like that. Typically wind each other up. We're still working on it. So I've been married for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I go in the gym, I'll maybe do some qigong, yoga stretch, whatever it is. But I will start my day until 10.
Right.
I'm like, no meetings before 10. Because if I don't do those things if I don't do that self-care in the morning, I'm not setting myself up for success that day, and I miss it. So that's like a no-negotiable. Then when I know what I'm going into that day, there's only one thing, I gotta get done that day. Whatever that is, everything else is just noise. What is that one thing that's going to keep me going there? So then I hit that one thing or whatever. But my perfect day was getting up in the morning, do the stretching, coffee, yoga, maybe an hour or two on the computer, and then been doing something physical. And then working with people and helping them on their energy and actually bringing them into my life so I could live a life that I get paid for, living the best possible life that I can have. So at the night, I might be doing breathing work and energy work people, maybe 15 people are here. But at 8 o'clock at night, I'm so buzzing and excited and motivated because I'm surrounded by people who just want to heal and do better and stuff like that. So I imagined that probably about 5 years ago. Okay. That was my perfect day. So now I know what my perfect day is. I give it out to the universe. How do I create my perfect day? If you don't know what your perfect day looks like, you're never going to get it.
So that's the same as your analogy you're talking about with the business, that you've got to understand what your review is so you can then understand what you're working towards.
Yeah. We don't do it. So it's doing that. So I used a tool called the 6 Phases of Meditation. I think you can still get it online for free by Vishen Lakhan. And I'd listen to it every single morning. It's about 15, 20 minutes. So when you wake up in the morning, just pop this on. And it takes you through, what does your perfect day look like? What do you want to achieve in the next 3 years? Energy healing. It's really good, and it can help you every single day if you do that, and you'll get breakthrough and you keep reinforcing it. So by the end of, after doing that, after 2 months, you should pretty much know what you want. And all you do is you just keep doing that every morning. All you have to do is lie there, listen to it. And it's the 6 phases of meditation. 6 phases of meditation.
And that gives you focus to make sure you deliver the day every day.
Yeah. or helps you move towards that thing that you really, really want. Because you weren't on this planet to pay a mortgage.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like you talked about earlier, when your sole purpose is money. Now, let's not be daft here and say, oh, you don't need any money, everybody. You can all just live on foraging on the farm. We can't have that. But I think when it flips to be your only purpose is to make money, I'm not sure you can ever be happy, because I don't think you ever know when to stop then. And it becomes your leader.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think it's a bad thing for people to go off and do that stuff. Like, it was important for me to go and build a Bella and Juke just to prove a point, finally.
Yeah.
But it didn't ultimately bring me happiness. Yeah. But I knew that. I knew the reason I was doing it. So, and there's nothing wrong with money. Money's not good, it's not bad. It's what you do with it. It's not the energetic part of it. It's just money. It's just cash. It's just transaction. But it's what you can do with that money. Like, how much money do you actually need today to achieve that life? You might be quite surprised.
Exactly. I think that's the question, isn't it? And you go back, because you talked about, just going back to that then, in terms of Bella and Juke though, did the changes that you've already achieved and are still achieving in terms of how pets are being fed, and as you start to change that pet wellness angle, does that give you more of a kick than, like you say, the money you've made out of it or the lifestyle you've had from it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not going to deny that, there isn't a buzz that you get off cash, and I don't think that'll ever go away. But the first thing I did when I got a bit of cash was I gave most of it away, or I invested it in other entrepreneurs. It was like, because, it's funny because I've just got rid of my Porsches. I had Porsches, and you dry up to a Tesco's and Asda, and people would look at you and it was nice to begin with. But then when I moved on this, I got rid of them all. And I said, it was lovely to be able to drive into a car park and nobody noticed you. Let's see how your ego deals with that bad boy.
Yeah.
And then you go, how much is the ego driven and how much is heart driven? So, you want to influence a room because you have a presence, not because of what you're wearing or what you're driving. And most of us rely on the other things. So, okay, great. You go and work for 5 years so you can look good for 2 minutes while walking across the fucking supermarket car park. If that's your thing and that's all that you got, then crack on. If that's your thing, because you've been trained and you're still stuck in this route.
It's interesting though, isn't it? I totally agree with you. Has the conditioning for that got worse though? Not when we were younger, but now, for our children, similar sort of ages, or span of them, they are presented with this perfect world all the time, and so their aspirations are the watch, the car, the T-shirt. I won't even say a brand because I'll just embarrass myself. Isn't it? It's interesting that that element's actually got worse with the advent of social media and measures of success.
And that is what we're lacking today, is this community. We don't have community. Like, back in the day, you had social clubs. You had your dad, your granddad, and your son, your uncle, all coming together, and you'd learn from your generations. That ain't happening now. They're learning from social, to your point. So the scary thing is our kids are getting taught that having nice watches, spending money on clothing is happiness. And their whole pursuit of life, it's not. It's to fund this global, massive e-commerce thing that we're on. That's what this is all about. And it's at the cost of the happiness of our kids. So how do you bring happiness into kids? They have to feel like they're worth something. They're contributing to society. That comes from community. And we were only ever designed to have about 130 people's news, not 8 billion. Yeah. So everyone's overwhelmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But and then you go, God, carry on.
So on ChatGPT, for example, I've created a prompt that said, only show me news that's relevant to me and my business and my lifestyle. And I get 2 or 3 articles a day. And usually it's about, this is what the local council's doing. Here's an event that might be worth it. And then I realized, actually, nothing else matters. Yeah. It's not going to impact me. And then my stress level's like, I don't know what's going on. I genuinely don't know what's going on in the news. But what about, I go, I don't need to know. Because you'll tell me.
I think it started, didn't it, with COVID? I switched off to the news because like every night you were telling you how many people died. I was like, I know this is bad, but I don't actually need to know in graphic detail. And I don't think I've engaged with the news since then, because you just realise whatever it is, it'll be something else in the day, the old
Yeah.
chip paper thing.
Yeah.
But going back to your point there, I think there's also another interesting of how we give our advice to our kids who are coming through. I think AI is helping force the conversation where we can be relevant as parents for once, because they have to look at what they can do that AI will never be able to do. And if you go back to what you first did, especially, and my entire career before doing this was always like what we call front of house, client services, looking
Yeah.
after the clients, befriending them. Luckily, most people were great. They became great mates. We'd go out this, we'd do that. They'd build the trust and we'd do the work. That can't be done by AI. I don't care what people, or if it is, hopefully we will be gone by then. But the idea is then you can utilize, because AI has got so many positives in terms of skilling you up, but if you can keep them focus on, because it's interesting, it comes back to what you said, which is let's go back to meeting people with people. And if you spend time with people, you learn from them, you develop, you give yourself, and you get given back from that relationship.
See, I could agree more. I mean, that whole thing is we're not being human beings, we've been human doings. And if we can get rid of the human doing and become human being again, that is why I think, and that's why I'm focused on community now, because that's where we need to get back to. So you're absolutely spot on. The kids need to come back. And interesting, the amount of people I meet who have an issue with like chat or whatever, AI, and you go, but that's because you can write English and you think you lose all the creativity. I go, no, all right, you keep believing that, and I'll use these tools and I'll put 100 times more content than you that's even better than yours and more research and stuff like that. You hold on to that limiting belief. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way, how did you drive here? Oh, what, you didn't walk? You didn't walk? You used a car? Oh, I hope you made those clothes. You didn't? Who made those clothes? You know what I mean? Where do you want to start and stop this conversation? I mean, it's a pointless conversation. It's going, it's happening, embrace it or be left behind. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. And teach your
But
kids.
choose
use
your
it.
path. Yeah. Choose your path
Yeah.
that makes you so you can take advantage of it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's very true. Very true.
And I think the other thing I've learned from setting up this new business is what would cost me about 500, 600,000 pounds, maybe even just as short as 6 or 7 years ago, like in software development.
Yeah.
If you think of CRMs and email managers and all, I just got this one, I think it was Zoho, for 45 quid a month that does everything. I'm like, oh my God, this is a game changer. So I'm running a business today that I probably would need about 5 members of staff. It's not, it's just me and my wife at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a game changer. If you're not starting a business now or trying your dream today with today's technology, you're missing a trick.
Yeah. Because it leaves you, back to your point, of more time of being and building relationships and things like that.
Yeah, totally.
But I think it is, and I think what we need to do is to look where we can support, because there are lots of people trying to bring communities back together, aren't there, and that sort of thing, because that's what will connect the world again. But yeah, that's going to have to be something done around the day job. So talk a bit to me about Torus Tree then, which is your latest venture.
So Toristry it's all about connecting people who I think probably just sick of the story in their head. It's probably the best way to describe it, whether it's limiting belief, where they don't feel good enough, where they've let people down, they've maybe not been true in a relationship, whatever it is, whatever the reason is, often it comes from our childhood traumas.
Okay. Yeah.
And things that happen to us, or, things. So if we can release the things that these limiting beliefs from you and allow you to be the best possible person you can, that's what we'll do. And we've set up a breathwork session. So what we do is we take people on over 12 weeks and we take them through healing, through journey, through breathwork, but it's all in a 9D. So as we call it 9D. So you've got 3D headphones on going around, the music, your binaural beats, hypnotherapy. So what happens is we have groups of like 15 people all working together, doing the breathwork journeys together, and they start to work through these issues, these challenges, these limiting beliefs, and we start to release them. And we do it as a group together. So we just see people evolve and see. I've never seen such amazing results. Now, this is not talk therapy. This is the difference. This is about when you get something, you might feel it in your stomach or in your throat, and you go, So it sticks in your body. What we do is release that from your body so it no longer sits there like that. You know, that thing,
Yeah.
when you get that
Yeah.
email opening and you suddenly, so that's what we do is we teach you how to release that and release those stories that are attached to that. We don't need to go into the stories. We just need to witness them and release them. That's all we're doing.
Okay.
And that's the
And a lot
difference
of
between
people.
talk therapy.
So is it done physically? Is it like you say physically? Is it done together in a room, or is it done virtually?
Yeah. Everyone's got headphones on, all close. We can do it virtually. We do it on Zoom as well. But you put your headset and you're in our studio, so you're in a safe space, and you do your process and you work it. No one knows what anyone else is doing. Like if you've done breath work before in a group, it can be quite off-putting because you can hear everyone else breathing.
Yeah.
Where this, you're just literally doing it. And we'll do breath holds. We do different types of breaths. We do screaming. That's really interesting. Haven't freaked out the neighbors yet, and we must try harder. But we do all this stuff. We do it on a weekly. And I've got a conversion rate from lesson 1 to lesson 12 of over 90%.
Keep coming and keep
coming.
going on the program.
Keep coming.
Wow.
So that for me, I'm like, wow, that just shows you. And at the end of it, everyone's like, oh, what we're going to do next? So now I'm building a community of people who continually wants to heal and do more events, and we want to attract more and more people and more and more people. Now, interestingly, this is what happened to me and Bella and Juke as well. Peter said to me, oh, that's just really good. I want to do this where I am. And I'm like, I haven't even started yet, but that's how impactful. That's when you know you're doing. So taking your tree time out and seeing and understanding your happy place. When opportunities come along, you can go, that's the one that I'm going for because I have real clarity of mind of that's the thing that's going to make me happy.
And so what type of people have been on the course then? Is it a course?
Like, yeah. At the moment, it's 80% women. I'd say 30 plus.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of 8-year-olds who are doing it. And they're just like, oh, I didn't realize about this. So yeah, that's typically it. But the men are the one who wiggle the most on the floor. They're the one who hold this stuff in. They're like,
got to be a man. I've got to deal with this. And yeah.
But there's more and more men coming, and we're going to do men groups. I've been asked to work in a prison and do stuff in prisons, with kids as well, in schools. So we're bringing the 90s getting done in schools as well. So it's just the more and more people we get it out to, the more calmer it is. And we need these tools because the opposite of that is everyone's getting affected by pings on their phone every 2 minutes. Everything's coming at them. We need the tools now to contradict that, to stop the effect on us.
Yeah. And to work out the priority of where it is in your life, it's not, unless it's a child in trouble, it's not worth it. It's not going to interrupt that time, is it? No. That's brilliant. And so what sort of involvement of time is it from, if I went on a course of yours, is it every day? Is it every week?
Oh, no, it's just 2 hours a week.
2 hours a week.
2 hours a week. That's all we do. Yeah. But but to be honest, Steve, it's the group where the magic happens. That's where the healing is, because when we do our circle shares, most people go, "Oh, no, don't want to talk," and we're like, "You don't need to talk. Just say thank you and then pass it on." But when the first person does it and opens up, the last person often they'll be like, "Oh, no, I wasn't going to say anything, but now I feel like I need to," and then by talking it, releasing it through the throat, they're releasing the energy that was with it, and it's gone. It's gone. People had back problems, are gone. Like they've had it for 20 years, it's gone. That's because it was an emotion.
It's an emotion that's niggled inside.
Yeah. So
because again, it can have a physical effect on the body, can't it? It's to do
100%.
Yeah. I love that. That's real.
Yeah, the body by science, all these things, I forget the other one. I've just read it. It'll come back to me. But anyway, there's books on it about how the body holds the score,
Yeah,
so,
my wife's read that,
Yeah, it's all there. The data's there. It just shows you. But back in the day when we were villagers and we were fighting each other and stuff like that, we had tools and ways to get rid of that stress. And we just don't have that today.
Yeah. I love that. It's brilliant. There's some guys I do a bit of work with, they're a not-for-profit set up. I don't know if I mentioned this when I spoke to you last time, but it's really relevant to what you talked about. And their drive is they've set up something called the Wildish Club, so Wild ISH, and their drive is to solve adult loneliness through people meeting outside. So obviously it's not got what's behind yours, but it has got the idea of you meet random strangers, go for a walk, go foraging, go for a barbecue, go for a picnic, go and look at the stars, go and look at all of this sort of thing.
Brilliant.
And they're doing the same, and it's interesting how they're now trying to sort of, it's not quite franchise because it's all volunteering, but fundamentally franchise this. And I think they've set up 12 clubs now across the UK. There's 3 or 4 right in the centre of London, some out in the middle of Pateley Bridge in Yorkshire. It's just fantastic. It's on a similar train of getting people to be with people and to share and to talk and to switch off.
Well, it's interesting because I think my role is actually to help the helpers, because they have a relationship with money that's not healthy. They go, I can't charge people for money. I can't. I go, no, you need to. You need that exchange of energy for us to work. It's non-committal otherwise, and having it. But going back to very start, when I ran the direct sales company, it was very positive. So lonely people didn't have many mates, would come in and go, everybody's positive, everyone's nice, and they would stick around because they didn't get that at home. So that's so important, really, really important.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? And like you say, people probably be listening to this thinking like how you've got to have gone through all of the pain and gone through the hardships, the good times, the bad times, to have the context then to look back and, like you say, to pick the patterns. Oh, actually, I'd create my own youth club at the door-to-door sales thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Instant friends.
Yeah. But you created your own social club. Yes, it was about selling, but they had different ages, different experiences. And then that was always my massive worry with COVID, and especially what we do in terms of creative services, of people not wanting to come into the office, because how do you learn? You know, I might be 55 and you might be 15, but I've got some things that you don't even know you need to know yet, that hopefully you'll see the way I deal with a client, or the way I speak to a friend, or the way I speak to a colleague. And that's that osmosis learning that you get from being together, isn't it? That's crucial.
Well, I guess one of the practicals, which you could finish on if I'm not over my time, but one of the practical things that I picked up, we went from, 10 staff to 140 staff in lockdown. You know, I knew everyone's eyebrows. That was it.
Yeah.
But by the time, when we came out of lockdown, we said, right, we need to make sure the culture's spot on. So what we did is we ran, they were called DNA days.
Yeah.
And it was culture, company DNA. And we got everybody to come to a hotel. And every single day we said, okay, went through our life stories, said, tell us one thing that changed your life every decade. So people got to know each other as human beings rather than Terry from accounts or whatever. So they got to know a little bit. So it just creaks them a little bit. And then we did things like, for example, we had a green board and a red board. And we said, on all the things that everywhere that you've worked before, what didn't you like? And I want you to put that on the red board. And all the things that you loved working in other places, I want you to put them on the green board. I said, what we'll do is, because we're a pet food, our head office was called Park Life, or it is called Park Life. We have a park ranger for the office manager, and we have park rules. And these park rules come from these DNA days. So everything that was on the green, I got my PR company to put them basically in the 10 rules, summarize them. And that's what's on the wall. Because the team came up with them, I knew what they were going to write. Like on the red, like no bitchiness, no da. And yeah, I just could have written that. But because they wrote it and they own it. And the thing about culture is culture's got to stay the same, whether it's the 1,000th or the 10,000th employee. And that only happens if the people within the culture police the culture. So that's why we did it. And it's been successful. And I think it's one of the best places in Britain to work, our office. You have up to 50 dogs as well. That was like number one. So you got 50 dogs, we've got everything.
It's interesting, isn't it, how you phrase that to say what you liked in other places. So they felt they had free reign rather than thinking, or if I write that, the canteen's crap at our place. Whereas talking about in like a third person, they were totally honest and totally got everything down. And you got to see what was in their mind about what they actually want from a place to work.
And you could have written that yourself. Now what they were going to write, but they owned it, and they did. And it's interesting because I'm like, well, pet food business, all about, we've got to make sure we offer the best possible food for our team. You've got to be authentic.
Right. I'll have a little visit and try you out, see what your lunches are like. One quick, you're right. I've just looked at the time. It's like thinking, I wish we could just make them really long, but we'll have to talk part 2. Are you still doing the entrepreneur in residence at the university?
Yeah, I did that because I thought I could add some practical stuff to the kids going in there. I'm a bit disappointed because I'm not a university. I never went to university, so I think it's ironic. But I'm always surprised by the lack of, say, Scottish kids in the system. I'm like, how the hell are we going to get these kids to the next level if all we're doing is encouraging internationals coming to the university? It's got to start somewhere, and it's just bonkers, this. I won't go off on a rant, but it was my part of, I thought I could help, but I was, honestly, I was a little bit disappointed, but you know what? It's, you could take the community as a world community, and if I help kids get across the line and hit there and make the world a little bit better, then my job's done. Yeah.
Interesting. I love it. It's good. It's good that he's got that time to give back as well now. So brilliant.
It's important.
Mark, that's been fantastic.
So
I'm laughing because I've done this now this is, I think, about the 60th one I've recorded, which is great. And I love everyone. Everyone's different because it's a case of, I get this is my true fulfillment in a week. If I get one of these, I get to meet someone. And it's interesting what you said about your sessions in terms of listening, because when I first did the couple of these, I talked far too much because I was nervous. I didn't know. I hadn't done the format, and I was like, oh, and my PA very politely said, "Steve, shut the fuck up," and she was completely right.
He loved you. She loves you. That's why she said, "Shut the fuck up."
She gave me honest feedback. She loves me greatly. I'm sure she still does. But it's interesting now when I listen, because it's a wonderful thing for me to be. It gives me time to process, and when you've said stuff there, I've gone, God, I've been through that, or I have that, or actually I need to think about that. And it's a real treat for me, don't get me wrong. I understand how lucky I am to be able to do that, but I think it's a really good point that maybe people, there's the classic thing of 2 ears, 1 mouth, isn't there? But actually listening to those around you, there's always an ability to learn from somebody, something. Might be nothing to do with work, it just might be to do with life, or you hear them prioritise certain things.
Absolutely, and that's the thing about sales. You repeat the last 3 words, whatever they told you. It's great in negotiations. There's lots of little techniques that you can learn. But the other thing is just...
take a breath.
Take a breath. Just a couple of breaths. You're in control. You're always in control.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because that's the panic when you don't feel you are.
Mm-hmm.
For no reason. And again, created by society and everything that's so instant and bleeping.
So I'll give your audience 2 techniques.
Go on then.
Number 1 is, it's a bit weird. I suggest you do it in the toilet. Just don't make a noise. I'm going to show you on this part of the video, and it's just like, I'm jumping up and down. I'm shaking. Okay, because if you look at any animal, if you got a dog, if they have it or a Barney, they shake it off. If 2 ducks on the pond have an argument, they fly off, they shake, and they just carry on. As humans, we fly off and we go, oh, if only I said this and only done that. So shake it off. And the other thing is, in through the nose for about 6 seconds, and then through like a little straw.
Through your mouth, back out through your mouth.
And you will instantly feel your heart rate come down. And when you have to do that public speaking, you're in the zone.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And 2 little tips.
We'll send them an invoice, mate, for that.
And go to the fund.
Yeah. Well, look, I've looked down. I'm a very good boy. I do my little homework before I do these things. I've written down about 15 questions. I've asked one of them.
Sorry.
No, that is I've always been like that. I'm over prepared and then I don't care. It's like, I didn't use it, need to. But that also is a great credit to yourself, to the fact that I haven't needed to.
You know, it's a coping mechanism, because most people are like, Mark, how do you just do it? I'll give you 3 keywords and just do it to camera. And I go, it's because I don't fucking think about it. I don't stress about it. I just show up. And that's my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
It's not to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I know I'll forget. Your coping mechanism works for you. Brilliant. It's there as a safety net. And that's great. At 50 odds, we kind of know what we need to make us comfortable. I still cannot prepare. I just say, bollocks, I'll just show up.
Yeah.
What will be. But being my authentic self, that's the best I can be.
We'll see what comments we get, but I've loved it. So, Mark, thank you so much, mate. It's been brilliant.
Thank
We
you.
will definitely have part 2.
You reckon? We'll see what the comments say.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, buddy.